Okay, everybody, we are recording. So hi to all of you, to all of my new Aussie friends. So my name is Allie Phillips. I actually live in mid-Michigan, right in the center of Michigan, which is the capital. And I am here to talk to you about the oily crystal. And how I've come to you all is because my enroller, Rebecca, who lives in Virginia, and Meredith, and myself, we were all in a Richard Bliss Brooke training in February and March. And my enroller, Rebecca, and Meredith were accountability partners. Um, so that's kind of the short story of how we all got connected. So, all right, so I'm not going to talk disease, treatments, diagnosis, cures. We're talking frequency tonight, which is going to be really awesome. And I'm going to be talking about a book that I wrote called The Oily Crystal. I also wrote a book called The Oily Pet, and there is a box of those books on their way to Meredith. They've been on their way for about a month, so hopefully they're going to arrive soon. So let me tell you just a little bit about me. So I started my career 25 years ago as an attorney. I am still an attorney. I started my career as a criminal prosecutor in the courtroom prosecuting criminal cases. Everything from a triple gang-related homicide to racketeering crimes to family violence and animal abuse to stealing, a $1 packet of food from a store. So I've truly prosecuted everything. After I left the courtroom, I moved out to the Washington, D.C. area and worked for a national organization that trains prosecutors. So I have traveled not only throughout the United States, but globally. I've been to Australia, yay! And I travel because I am known internationally for my work involving the prosecution of animal abuse and how animal abuse links to domestic violence and child abuse. And as a result of that, I launched a program many, many years ago that's now formalized as a nonprofit, and it's called Sheltering Animals and Families Together. And I help domestic violence shelters create on-site pet housing. I actually have several shelters in Australia doing this, which is why I was there 2.5 years ago, teaching at a conference in Sydney. So I've also written a lot of legal books and book chapters. I am a longtime animal shelter volunteer and advocate, not only for shelter animals, but animals used in research, just animals in general. And I am the owner of my health and wellness business, which I started in 2011. I am certified in 3 different energy modalities as a master teacher. I am also a certified health coach. I am an essential oil educator. I have actually been invited by Young Living Corporate on 3 occasions to teach for them on essential oils and pets. And I am an advanced crystal master, which means I studied for 18 months with a science teacher. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the science tonight. I have been teaching crystal classes since 2012, and I recently took 2 of my classes online. My full day basic crystal healing class, which is 8 hours long, and my full day crystal healing for animals class, which is 8 hours long. So I can thank the pandemic for that, because it took me out of my comfort zone. And I took those classes online and actually did teach someone in Melbourne. She's a nurse. She went through my crystal healing for animals class. So if you want more information about that, let me know, because I'm setting up some special classes for Singapore where we're going to break them into 2 parts because of the time difference and just do 4 hours at a time. So if you're interested, let me know. So that's a picture of me working with a crystal singing bowl at a cat orphanage outside of Washington, D.C. I do a lot of crystal work with animals, but also with people. So let's start and just dive right in and talk about why would you want to pair essential oils and crystals together. Both have a vibrational frequency to them. And when you blend the vibrational frequency of an essential oil and a crystal, they enhance the benefits of both. So crystals, like essential oils, provide a myriad of benefits at all of our energy levels, the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. So this is just another wellness tool in your kit. So let's dig into frequencies, because this is where the crystals and the oils really do some amazing work. So I'm going to give you just a really short version of this, and I go into greater detail on all of this in the Oily Crystal book. So everything in existence is made of vibrational energy. So that includes you, your pet, your computer, your desk, your crystals, your essential oils, water, the air in front of you. It all has a vibrational energy and frequency to it. So in the Oily Crystal book, I actually go over 3 different physics principles that relate to crystals and explain how they synchronize with our energy. So I'm going to just talk about one tonight. I'm going to talk about the principle of resonance. And what that tells us very basically is when a larger vibration is present, a similar vibration that is smaller is going to synchronize with it. So for example, if you've ever worked with tuning forks or you've seen a tuning fork, you know, a tuning fork, you take it and you bang it, you know, on a hard object. And when you bang it or smack it on something, it will make a sound. So in this example, a tuning fork that is tuned to the note C is actually going to get other tuning forks of the note C to vibrate with it. So if you take a tuning fork and you smack it really hard, and you take a tuning fork and you smack it very lightly, the lightly vibrating one is going to increase and raise up to that larger frequency. So where this happens with people is, let's say that you're going throughout your day, you're feeling okay. I mean, you're content. You don't have any extreme emotion. You're not super excited. You're not super depressed. You're just good. I mean, you feel okay. And then you come across somebody who is really happy or really a downer and negative. What happens in the principle of resonance is you synchronize to where they are. I mean, we've all experienced this, where we will encounter somebody who is really down and negative, and we walk away feeling worse than we did before the talk. Or we'll encounter somebody who's really inspirational and they raise us up. I mean, this is how inspirational, motivational speakers make money, because they raise you up. We will synchronize to that person because they have a strong emotion, whereas our emotions, we're just neutral. So this is how crystals work. And I'm going to talk about this in just a little bit. So I'm going to come back to this. So let's really talk about the energy of humans. So Gary Young, back in 1999, worked with Dr. Bruce Teneo of Teneo Technologies, and they created this machine where they were testing the frequencies of the body to find out how the frequency of the body is in relation to disease. And they found that the healthy human body is basically 78 megahertz, which is interesting to me because that actually synchronizes with the frequency of the earth. And I think it explains why when we go outside, we're in nature, we put our feet on the ground, we feel really good. And there's a lot of science behind that, where it's anti-inflammatory to put our feet on the earth. I mean, we just feel really good because we're synchronizing with the earth. Because think of what's more dominant, the earth or a human. The earth is. We will synchronize with it. Now, with humans, we can go throughout our day and have our frequency lowered or raised. And some of this we can control. Most of this we can control. So we can lower our frequency by not getting enough sleep, by getting stressed out, being fearful. This is why I've been doing a lot of education during the pandemic, because people are afraid. Being afraid is going to lower your frequency and make you susceptible to disease. That is absolutely scientifically proven. So when you're fearful, when you're worried, it lowers your frequency. When you eat acidic foods, when you have unhealthy relationships, drink alcohol or drink coffee, which that breaks my heart, drinking coffee, because I love it. When you take medications or smoke cigarettes or are around a lot of electromagnetic frequencies, this is all going to lower your frequency. But then you can raise your frequency by being positive, being around positive people, having positive relationships, meditating, giving and receiving prayer, receiving energy healing, eating real food, getting fresh air, moving, going out walking or running or, exercising, engage, using mantras and affirmations, but also using crystals and pure essential oils will raise your frequency. So let's now talk about the energy of crystals. So this is where the science part in me comes out. And usually it takes me a half a day to teach the science of crystals. So I'm going to try to teach this in just a couple of minutes. Crystals have what is called a fixed repeating crystalline structure. So crystals have minerals in them, but not all minerals are crystals. Stones and rocks that are outside of your home, they're all made of minerals, but stones and rocks are not crystals. Crystals are different because of their crystalline internal structure, that when you look at it under a microscope, it looks beautiful. It looks like a snowflake. It's just gorgeous. And it is a repeating structure. You just see these repeating snowflake crystalline structures. Now, everything in our world has a frequency, and everything has what's called a base resonant frequency or a dominant oscillatory rate. So for the Earth, the base frequency is 7.83 hertz. Same thing for a healthy human body. We can lower it and we can raise it, but for a crystal, it is fixed. It does not change. It has an orderly structure to it, which is why it is billions of years old. Crystals were here before any living organism and will be here when everything else is gone. Crystals survive everything. And it's because of this orderly structure that it has the lowest state of entropy, which means it does not decay. We decay, animals decay, plants decay. We have high entropy. So our physical structure and our cells are not fixed. Our base resonant frequency changes all the time. We can lower it, raise it, lower it, raise it. Crystals don't change, not at the molecular level, not at the atomic level. You can do whatever you want to a crystal. You can polish it, you can chop it up, you can poke a hole through it and hang it on a necklace. Scientifically, you do not change it, you don't alter it. So through the principle of resonance, when we come into contact with a crystal, our energy field begins to synchronize with the energy field of the crystal, because the crystal structure is a higher vibration, a higher amplitude, and it dominates us. So crystals have an energy field that's been measured with Kirlian photography, which you see on your screen. Kirlian photography is heat-seeking photography. It's being used frequently. I actually just had thermography done on my spine to look for inflammation. Thermography is being used by many health conscious people in lieu of mammograms, because cancer is heat. Military agencies use Kirlian photography to look for missiles. So you can see on the screen, crystals have an energy that comes off of them. There is something to them, and it has been scientifically measured. Now with crystals, there are a range of frequencies from grounding to very high vibrational, to soothing to energizing. But we don't have standardized frequencies of crystals because each crystal is unique and will vibrate differently. Even if it's the same, if it's amethyst or clear quartz, it just depends on what part of the bigger crystal it came from. So there is no standardized frequencies of crystals. Now with oils, what we know about the principle of resonance is that when an essential oil has a higher frequency than a problem in our body, it can actually neutralize it and bring it into balance. Now, essential oils do not have a structure as solid as a crystal. Essential oils fluctuate because essential oils come from the plant kingdom. We're from the animal kingdom. So plant kingdom and animal kingdom suffers from high rates of entropy or destruction. So essential oils with high frequencies assist us with emotional issues and can raise the frequency of the body. And essential oils with a lower frequency are more effective on physical energy and physical change. Now here's the thing. So it's been 20 years since the frequencies of Young Living oils have been tested. And I can tell you without really any evidence that the frequencies of our oils have changed because the planet has changed dramatically in 20 years. The frequency of the earth is not what it was 20 years ago. It's higher, and it's going to impact the soil and the plants and therefore the oils. But there's all these charts that go around on social media that show that rose oil is 320 megahertz. It's actually not the highest anymore. Idaho blue spruce is at 580 megahertz. But then you'll see like Valor is 47 megahertz, which is lower than a healthy human body. So I always get the question, oh my gosh, well then I shouldn't use Valor because it's gonna lower my frequency and make me sick. What happens with frequencies is they add together. So you take your frequency right now and you add the oil frequency to it, or you add the crystal frequency to it. So it's not that it'll lower you if it's a lower frequency, it's going to add to and raise you up. So I like to talk about energy imprints. So if you've ever studied Dr. Masaru Emoto, okay, I have to divert here for a second. So if you watched Young Living's convention last weekend, during one of the workshops, I think it was Saturday here in the US time, Carol Ye Garner, who is a Royal Crown Diamond, she was talking about mindset. She talked about Dr. Emoto, and I was doing a watch party and I just started screaming and dancing all over my house because not many people know about Dr. Emoto and his water experiments. So what he proved, and you can find his books, they are amazing. He proved that water transforms to whatever it's exposed to. If you expose it to kind words or hateful words, it will change the molecular structure of the water. Crystals will change the molecular structure of water. So think about this. Human bodies and animal bodies are comprised mostly of water. So this is another way that the body is able to synchronize with the energy of the crystal because we are water. The crystal is going to influence the water structure. So on the screen, you're actually seeing the imprint of crystals in water. So the bottom row is what I want you to look at because it shows you what the water looks like when it's exposed to a crystal. And you can see it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So what crystals do is provide an energy imprint in our body. And everything in our body is energy. Even our physical body is first impacted by the energy of something that happens. So, Meredith, I'm going to talk about crystals that you can add to water because I'm going to talk about crystals that are safe to go in any liquid, whether it's water, carrier oils, or essential oils. And I think you're going to be surprised. Most crystals can't go in water. So let's talk about, you want to put your crystals and your oils together. So what do? It's all about being intentional. If you want to create a grounding blend, you know, a roller ball that is grounding, you're going to select a grounding crystal and a grounding essential oil. And if you want to create a high vibrational blend, you're going to select a high vibrational crystal and a high vibrational oil. And my recommendation is to not blend too much together. Keep it simple. But here are the two things that really no one else is talking about, because there's a lot of really amazing, innovative people that are publishing books and, you know, oracle card decks about oils and crystals, and they've created companies where you can buy roller bottles with crystals in them. But they are not talking about the two scientific things that I'm going to talk about right now: the Mohs hardness and the toxicity. And this is exactly why I wrote the Oily Crystal book, because I've been teaching on this precise topic for 8 years. And then I started seeing all of these unsafe practices, and I decided I need to publish my book because I need to let people know that there's a lot of unsafe things out there. So when we look at the Mohs hardness, what is that? Every crystal is designated on this Mohs hardness scale based on its hardness, and it's a scale of 1 to 10. I think we've all heard that diamonds cannot be scratched at all. They are the hardest substance. They are a Mohs hardness 10. Can't get any tougher than a diamond. Mohs hardness 1 is talcum powder. Did you know that talcum powder, talc, is technically a crystal? It is powder, so it is a Mohs hardness 1. If you are familiar with crystals, like I'd love to see in the chat, tell me if you have crystals. A common crystal that a lot of people love is selenite. Well, selenite is a Mohs hardness 2, because if you put it in water, within about 48 hours, it'll disappear and it will become a slushy, watery mess. So with putting crystals in any liquid, whether it's water or essential oils or a carrier oil, it has to be at least Mohs hardness 6 or higher. That's the first rule. The second rule is you have to look at the toxicity of the crystal. Just because something comes from the earth doesn't mean it's safe. Arsenic and asbestos and heavy metals, you know, like nickel and aluminum, all come from the earth, and they are not safe for us. So you have to make sure that you have looked at the toxicity of the crystals. So in the Oily Pet book, I actually go through and tell you exactly what crystals are Mohs hardness 6 and higher, and what crystals are not toxic that you can use. And then I'm going to, in the next several slides, I'm going to give you some specifics. So what I also love to do when blending oils and crystals together is there's a couple of different ways you can get the crystals in the bottle. If you have a crystal bracelet that has the crystal chips, or maybe they're in a necklace, I just cut the rubber band on the bracelet or the necklace, and that's what I put in the roller bottle. Or I'll find really thin points, like clear quartz points, and put those in the bottle. So this is, you know, I teach in my crystal classes that the size of the crystal determines the size of its energy, like how big of an energy field it has. And there is a time and a place for little tiny crystals and very thin points. And this is the time that we use those. So when I talked about that there's a lot of very well-intentioned, innovative businesses out there selling roller bottles with crystals in them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know what they're talking about. And, you know, and it really breaks my heart to say that. But when I talk to them, they haven't been trained in the science of crystals. They just read a crystal book, and crystal books don't talk about the science. And so this chart that I actually have on your screen is from a popular company here in the United States. And I'm not into calling out companies by name, but I just wanted to show it to you because when you see the N means no, the blue N means that the Mohs hardness is too soft to go into liquid. So for example, blue calcite, any calcite, too soft. It's a Mohs hardness 3 or 4. Orange kyanite, rhodonite, what else is on there? White howlite, emerald. These cannot go in liquid. They're too soft, and they will start to disintegrate and break down. And sometimes the internal physical structure of a crystal has minerals in it that you may not know are there. And even a geologist may not know that they're there. So if it breaks down, if there is lead inside of it, you are now rollerballing lead all over your body. That's why you don't want a crystal that's physically going to break down. Now the red ends mean that they're toxic. And some of these are my favorite crystals, like labradorite. I love labradorite, pyrite, sodalite, sapphire, tanzanite, tiger's eye. I see tiger's eye all the time in rollerball. Tiger's eye has asbestos. You can't put that in a rollerball. And chances are, if you are creating a rollerball with essential oils and crystals, I suspect that you are into natural wellness and you don't want to rub toxic heavy metals on your body. So I wrote this book, but encourage you to do your own research, and all of this information can be found online. So when I am blending essential oils and crystals together, I am using an organic carrier oil or Young Living's V6 oil, because carrier oils can be as adulterated as an essential oil. Now, what I like to do when I do the organic carrier oil with the Young Living oils, I also add just a couple of drops of vitamin E or glycerin, because those are a natural preservative. So for years, I was under the impression that essential oils were a natural preservative, and they are to an extent. But when you add a little bit of vitamin E or glycerin, it absolutely is a natural preservative. And you can actually look at a lot of Young Living skincare products and you'll see vitamin E or glycerin, and that's why they do it. Now, if you're creating a water-based blend, maybe you want to create a spray or a spritzer. You want a spray bottle in your guest bathroom that has crystals and essential oils in it. You can use vodka or salt or organic white vinegar as a natural preservative. Any of those are going to work just great. All right, so in the book, I actually go through and talk about the chakra system. Because a lot of people, like to place crystals on the chakras and use essential oils for the chakras. So that's how I wrote the book in relation to blending. Now, in the book, I don't mention Young Living by name, and I don't mention any of the blends because those are trademarked. And as an attorney, I respect their trademark. And plus, Young Living requires a licensing fee if you publish anything with their name or their blends. So in the book, I only talk about the single oils like frankincense, lemon, orange, lavender, that sort of thing, because those you can't trademark. But in this presentation, I'm going to give you guys the blends. So if you, I can read off, there's a lot of single oils, but I can read them real quick. But let's start with the root chakra. So the root chakra is all about being grounded and calm and confident and having security in this world, like knowing where your place is in this world and your place in your tribe and a sense of belonging. This is the chakra where we release fear. So the crystals that you want to use are going to be black or brown crystals, but there are very few. There are very few. So you can use crystals like rutilated quartz, not smoky quartz, Can't use smoky quartz because smoky quartz, let's see, I'm looking here in my book. Smoky quartz actually has, why am I not seeing it? Oh, has aluminum in it. But you can use rutilated quartz or brown or red jasper. Now, the oils that are very grounding are oils like black spruce, blue spruce, cedar wood. But your blends, and this is not in the book, and you're welcome, you're going to get the recording of this, but you're welcome to take screenshots. Your blends are Exodus 2, grounding, release, sacred mountain, Sarah, and valor. And what these do when you put these together is it creates an energy of feeling peaceful, protected, and safe. Now, when we go to the sacral chakra, this is just under your belly button. This is the area where you create and are inspired. So you create a program, you create a book, you create an idea, you create a human being. And it's where you get your inspiration from. So your crystals are going to be red or orange. So like carnelian or orange jasper or red jasper. Now the single oils, a couple of them are clary sage, orange, and tangerine oils. But your blends are abundance, Christmas spirit, inner child, which really, inner child reconnects you to who you really are, which when you think about children, they're all about love and creativity. I mean, that's what they are. Children are so creative. They have such great imaginations. Inspiration into the future gets you moving forward. And that's what inspiration and creativity does for you. And then also motivation and sensation. These are your sacral chakra oils. And when you put the oils and the crystals together, it creates an energy of embracing the passion that you have for life. So if you've ever felt stuck, that's what you do. Let's go to the solar plexus. This is in your stomach area. This is your energy and power center. It's where we release negative emotions. It's where we get balanced in our power. You know, are we giving away our power or are we too controlling? So your crystals are yellow. So we're looking at citrine and yellow jasper. And we're looking at citrus oils like lemon and lime and even nutmeg. Nutmeg is amazing for your adrenals, and the solar plexus covers your adrenals. Now your blends are going to be acceptance, which releases frustration and pushing back. That's all about power and not feeling that you have it. That's what acceptance does. Citrus fresh, common sense. Common sense is all about getting control of your internal power. When you have internal control of your power, you have common sense. People who don't have common sense, which we are seeing it play out on social media. I know we all are. Those people have an out of control solar plexus. Highest potential releases limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs store in the solar plexus. Hope, humility, magnify your purpose, peace and calming, present time actually puts you in the moment. When you're in the moment, you have your power. Nobody else has taken your power from you. The release oil, surrender, thieves gives you power. These are amazing blends. And transformation, probably my favorite for the solar plexus, because it releases the resistance to changing negative emotions and your belief systems that don't work for you. So transformation is when you're in a power struggle with yourself. Put that with citrine in a roller bottle. Oh my word, it's going to change your life, because what it does is it creates an energy of feeling strong and brave and that all is well. And I think we kind of need this now, don't we? With the pandemic and everything. And I mean, we've got racial riots going on here in the US. The US is basically collapsing so that we can rebuild ourselves. So transformation and citrine in a roller bottle, that is your all is well blend. And then for the heart chakra, this is where joy and unconditional love come from. So we're looking at pink or green crystals. Now, this is where I always get a question. Well, Allie, why is it pink or green? Those are two very different colors. Well, the chakras all have a vibrational frequency to them that actually matches the colors that I'm talking about. Pink has a vibrational frequency, so does green, so does yellow, so does red and orange. And all of those colors frequencies match to the frequency of the chakra. So pink and green are polar opposite on the color wheel because the heart is the center chakra of the body. So it can go either way. It can go pink or green. So your single oils are going to be like rose, geranium, ylang-ylang, jasmine. Your blends are going to be believe, forgiveness, gratitude, and joy. So when I'm thinking about the crystals, you know, the green is going to be like green aventurine. Some people call it aventurine. So it's like tomato. I call it aventurine. And then your pink crystals are rose quartz or Himalayan pink quartz, which Himalayan pink quartz, if you can get that and put it in a roller bottle, that is a remarkable crystal for healing whatever injustices the heart has suffered, whether it's unfulfilled emotional needs from childhood, or shame and anger from past abuse, or guilt over past deeds or something that you didn't do, or just even the emptiness and pain caused by grief or loss of romantic love or relationships. So pink Himalayan quartz, that is my jam. That is the crystal I love the most. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to the throat chakra. So I could get into a whole discussion about how the planet has an imbalanced throat chakra right now. Because the throat chakra is not only communication, it's we can't communicate if we can't breathe. And the pandemic is targeting the lungs. We've got a throat chakra problem on this entire planet. So this is all about authentic communication. And oh, gee, are we not in a war on truth right now? I know we are here in the United States. None of us know what to believe anymore. Gee, that's a throat chakra issue. No wonder we're having throat chakra physical problems. Do you see how this all connects? I mean, I'm getting all excited here. This is crazy. But the throat chakra is all about authentic communication and releasing the need to hide out because you're afraid of what others are going to think about you. Or maybe you're afraid that they're going to attack you on social media. You know what I say to that? Delete and ban. That is my favorite thing to do on Facebook. Anybody says anything snarky to me, it's like, I'm sorry, this is my online home. If you don't like what I say, like I would just escort you out of my home. I'm just going to escort you out of my online home. So ban and delete. Feel free to use that. Your crystals are going to be your blue, like your light blue crystals, like blue lace agate and blue chalcedony. Your oils, like your single oils, are going to be fennel. Fennel is the oil you use if you swallow your words. You know you want to say something and you can't do it. Put fennel on your throat. Blue tansy is another one. This is high vibrational. It releases anger and it helps you get into the flow so that you don't feel overwhelmed and stifle what you need to say. Myrtle is another one. Now your blends are Australian blue and Dreamcatcher. So Australian blue actually balances and opens the throat chakra beautifully, and Dreamcatcher helps you communicate. So what these do in combination is create an energy to communicate authentically, to make the world a better place, because we all have something unique to give. And if we swallow it and keep it to ourselves, we just denied everybody from what we're supposed to have and supposed to share. So next is the third eye. That's your forehead. And this is the chakra for clear thinking and vision. This is the chakra for discerning truth. This is the chakra to allow you to see the path ahead of you. A lot of people can't see the path ahead of them right now because they're terrified and they don't know what's true anymore. So we're looking at like dark blue or purple crystals. We're looking at amethyst or blue aventurine. Single oils can be Palo Santo or white fir. But your blends are Awaken, Clarity, Envision, and White Angelica, because White Angelica is protective against negative energies. And when you open your third eye to receive information, you need to protect yourself from negative energies. So what these blends do is create an energy of being receptive to knowing and not being afraid of the information you get. Because there is a lot of crazy things happening in the world right now that are being written off as conspiracy theories. Well, who said that they were a conspiracy theory? There's some crazy things happening, and when you open your intuition, you're going to tap into it. And then you're going to feel empowered and be able to actually live happily in this world and do something about it. And then let's go to the last chakra, our crown chakra. This is where we manifest and where we connect to spiritual source energy. So when you need to raise your vibration, this is the chakra that you work on. So we're looking at clear crystals like clear quartz, or pale pink crystals like pink Himalayan quartz, or even lilac colored crystals like really pale lilac amethyst. So single oils are going to be blacks, our Northern Lights black spruce, Idaho blue spruce, frankincense, and Zhang Mao. Oh my gosh, the Zhang Mao oil is the oil of enlightenment. It is powerful. And then your blends are abundance, gathering, so that you can gather your energy into a higher frequency, higher unity, well, that name kind of says it all, sacred angel, three wise men, and the gift. And what you're doing by putting the crystals in these blends together is creating the energy of I am that I am. This is like the ultimate source mantra. I am that I am. All right, so in the oily crystal, I go into much deeper detail, but I wanted to give you a lot of information right now, because I mean, it's expensive to ship to Australia. And, Meredith, you are a superstar for having a box sent to you. But I go into all of these areas much deeper. I even go into some of my favorite recipes for people and for pets, because everything I talk about in this book is safe for pets. So, all right, that is the information. And so if you want to connect, because I share a lot online, that's how you can find me. But Meredith, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, and then we can take some questions. Okay?